In this lesson, we'll review a short independent reading passage. We're on page 538, question 7. This is part of the critical reading section. And on the left column, this short passage has only two questions, 6 and 7. That's why it's independent. On the right column, there's a separate passage and has two independent questions, 8 to 9. Remember, there's one set of dual where they compare and contrast, but these are the standalone passages. In the passage, the author's childhood wish to be a Renaissance artist in lines 11 through 12 is best understood as what? And I've reproduced it, but hopefully you've read this passage and you want to sort of gauge her wish in context. And these are the last two lines here. But if you read the earlier part of the passage, just 13 lines, it's pretty short. It's about this young girl. Poetry discovered me when I was 4 or 5. My mother wrote a poem for me, and I had to recite it in church. Soon I was writing my own poems. This was during a time when my primary artistic expression was drawing, usually with crayons. We also called it coloring. And then it goes on. Then about the age of 12, while still drawing and now painting with a passion, I seriously, parentheses, too seriously committed myself to writing poetry. And here's the very last line, the reference line. I wanted to be a Renaissance artist, write, paint, compose music, invent things. We have to gauge her wish. So try to predict it in advance. So if you read this in context, as a young girl, she started out writing or coloring. Then at 11 through 12, she's still young. She has this sort of grand ambition to write poetry and to become a Renaissance artist. So let's just stop there and think about it. So all of a sudden, she's totally shifted gears. She's still very young, and now she's totally immersed with this desire to be a Renaissance artist, to write poetry. She wanted to write, paint, compose music, invent things. So is that realistic? Probably not. It's sort of an overly ambitious plan. It is not really that logical given her young age, and she's just sort of getting involved in this. And by the way, there's not a progressive level in difficulty. This is a level 5 question, and this is why it's so important to predict the tone and sort of what her desire was in advance. So if you look at the choices here, is it A, an early sign of artistic ability? No, if anything, she really doesn't have the ability. So A is out. And then in B, a common goal of young people? No, not really. Again, it's not enough evidence for that. She's got this sort of overly ambitious grand plan, and the answer, I think, clearly is C, a naive, just sort of uninformed and grandiose ambition, a grand plan that really hasn't been thought out, especially given her immaturity. The answer is definitely C. It's not the beginning of an arduous and painful apprenticeship. That's way off, and she hasn't undertaken an apprenticeship. And at E, a spark that indicated devotion. No, it's definitely C. It's a grand, sort of overly ambitious plan. And this is how I think this is a logical inference. This is a classic reasoning question that can be drawn from the passage. So focus on the main theme and then read it in context and then try to predict it. And hopefully you'll arrive at the right answer. C. All right, see you next time. Thanks for watching.